Hello?
Well, so it looks like we have a random, choice for user picture today. I don't know where that's coming from. I'm quite confused. Let's see if this- Very, very confused. I'm very quiet. Oh, no, I'm actually not saying a whole lot, so that's probably part of it. Okay. I'm just trying to see if I can figure out really quickly where that came from. Scene, change. Okay, that doesn't help. Purple pictures. URL, yeah. Weird. Okay, I have no idea where it's getting the target user profile image from. Absolutely none. Because it's supposed to just grab it based on who said something. But we're getting random, absolutely random text or pictures. I don't know. Well, last time I was talking, people were telling me I was peeking, so who knows? We'll just go with what we got. All right. Okay, so we are. It doesn't help when I turn to look at the right-hand monitor. I've got three monitors on my screen, three monitors on my desk, and I've got the right-hand one being all weird today. Okay. All right, so got the right Discord channels kicking out on the side, and we're good. Okay, so we are starting out hanging out inside the DC-73 castle. I was attempting to AFK just to see if I could get a little bit of iron. And we got some, not a whole ton. It's not a high production farm, and I'm okay with that because last season I had far too much iron fairly quickly. It isn't like a double chest that I was not using.
Hello.
And it's choppy. Okay. So good morning, B Silver B. Good morning, Zerk and Fantastic Fox. And good morning to the lurkers on the DC-73 server. First thing today, we are going to actually work on these walls. I know it sounds weird because we haven't yet, and there's always the but first, one more thing, and there is the one more thing this week. The first thing that I'm going to mention or get into is we need to take a quick detour to spawn and just oops, didn't mean to bring the flowers, and just because I didn't manage to do that on the weekend. And I should have taken the time to go to spawn yesterday and didn't think to do so. It makes, a ton of sense. But I got highly spoiled. You guys who were able to see me. I like break the bricks and... Oh, you like the break the bricks give wall. Yes. It's pretty basic. It's not super textured. And then the cobblestone part is intentionally over the moat section. So, yeah. It's one of those, like, could have been replaced multiple times kind of thing. So good morning to you, Hobo Zim. So, let's see, my brain... Oh, I was incredibly spoiled yesterday, so now I have... for those of you that saw the trip on the weekend, I did manage to get my own set of Ender Wings. Haven't renamed them anything yet. Ender Wings, I guess. And then I have a box now, I can call it Delen's First Aid Kit, which is going to have... Right now it's just got extra tools, so it's sort of like a toolbox. It's going to be my emergency box, extra gear and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we're back to the gold one, which this year is named Delen's Precious. My kids figured there wasn't enough S's on the end, but I didn't want to go quite that far. And then, of course, lovely PP Zerk and Zerk will help supply ender chests. So we have an ender chest here and one in my inventory. And as you can see, I also got a bunch of shulker shells courtesy of the Zerks and of CJRV Williams. So we have plenty of ability to make shulkers as we need them, which is going to be good when we start working on things outside the castle walls. When we're at the walls, there's not much point, but beyond that, definitely we need them. So let's take our quick run to spawn. Now, it's not that far from here, so I'm intentionally going to do it on foot, but we do have our horses all armored up, I did pick that up from the end, so that's good news. And yeah, I think that's where we're at. Good. That's the long story made short. I had a... Oh. Okay, this is just something that's gonna drive me crazy. Probably already driving you guys crazy. Where did I put ladders? Yes, there is an amazing shulker farm in the end, which is like 100,000 times more productive than my iron farm. Although if I get rid of the fact that I have iron twerps in my base, then, you know, that might help. There we go. Alrighty. But yeah, Brian was nominated to build a shulker farm like he did last season, and boy did he pay off in dividends, so... Oh. Ugh. And so he did a fantastic job, and we're getting a ton of shulker shells. It doesn't take very long at all. Come on.
Oh, hello there!
Oh! Sparkles in the end. Oh, right, I forgot we had one. Good question. Very, very good question. So I'm really not that far from spawns. I'm just gonna hoof it. I mean, 200 is not necessarily worth taking the donkey. I guess the donkey and the horses at some point need name tags and names. I just haven't got that far yet. And good morning to you, Dub Dynamite. I'm making an assumption that we'll probably have an Ender. I don't see why not. As you can see in my mini-map, this is why I like being on the roof. Because that would have been not fun to have Wolfen's Nether portal show up, like, literally over a lake of lava. But also, because I'm this close, for the times that we're going to be heading down below to the real Nether. Not that this isn't necessarily real, but... Oh, Brian's been on the roof again. Nope, it's Keith this time. Interesting. I'm getting a bit of a deja vu. Said random box. Going with that. Yeah. So because there's holes punched in various different portals that I'm not that far from, I'm probably not going to bother with a hole to the basement. Good. Somebody bothered to put the pathing, sort of some attempt at pathing back in, because I had a lovely little creeper explosion here on the weekend. I had to fix that. Rockets. No surprise. Alright, well. Yeah. I've got some diamonds I picked up at the end, but I'm not spending them yet. Alright. Oh, yes. Yeah, there's another reason I'm here. I'll show you in a second. Just pick this up. And then I get that achievement. The next generation. Oh, the dragon egg. Okay, let's put it back. Already got a head. I think I did the dragon's breath one already? Yeah, I did. I'm real estate. Yeah, probably. So, you can see, I don't know why I had that one. I think I must have been on fire. That's probably what it was. So you're seeing a whole bunch of Ds floating around. On Friday evening, we actually had ourselves... I had my portal connected and stuff, and I came to see spawn. There was some reason or other. Oh, I was trying to figure out where I was going on Saturday. And Friday we had a very impromptu site of, well, mass slaughter. That's where a lot of these heads came from. There were a few before that. But yeah, we had a site of mass slaughter, and we were just running around beating the daylights out of each other. And yeah. I think one of these actually was the hay bale I was using smashing people around. So basically, I'm going to take a look at the map here. So I had what amounted to, by the time it was all said and done, 24 deaths. So you can see I haven't died since the head smashing slaughter. But yeah, it was lots and lots of fun. And apparently my sword with knockback on it was popular because it was just fun just booting people backwards. However, of course, I got killed several times, and so the sword kind of passed hands quite a lot. And we interesting. And we have just a few heads laying around. The idea was that, you know, if you wanted to collect people's heads, so then you could actually take a bunch of them, like one or two, whatever you needed. I think I've got most of these, so I'll have to do a full check and see who's who. Make sure I've actually got them all. I think there's about a dozen here. I might not have CK grapes, but there's a lot of good ones. So yeah, we can get rid of these these death messages. Just a few. I'm actually surprised there's many of the CJ bot ones, Lava King, as there are. Oh, I may not have the owls. I'll have to check on that. And like we have so many, they extended themselves into the building. I'm gonna skip that song because it sounds like Spotify is having a really bad morning. Okay, good. It's still a real song, but it at least doesn't sound quite so choppy. Oh, we have a second floor. Honestly, I've never been up to the second floor. Okay, good. It has not been taken over with heads just yet. We're told the heads won't stay, but they're up for grabs for now. So yeah, I'll have to double check that and see if I've got all of them. That was that. So we're headed back to the base, and we're going to get a start on those walls. Free end gear, take your choice. Effective. Here. That in there. Just to let whoever set that up know that it's empty now. House under construction. Yeah, that's like a permanent construction house. Nice. Portals are a little slow this morning, so let's see. I'm just gonna get away from all these D's and then I'll get rid of them. Whoa! What was him? Hello! Okay, so I'm just gonna pause for a second and get rid of. This is the Nether overworld, so we can get rid of a lot of these. You can see I had a few. But the nice part about it, though, is courtesy of Dub Dynamite, I was actually alerted to a lovely mod where I what do I do? I want to just delete it. There we go. Where I could get basically a death shot. So as things are happening, and yeah, I was on fire a lot. Somebody had a sword that had flame on it, or like fire aspect, and so I was on fire a lot. It's probably where some of the deaths came from, as is actually the fire itself. But because, of course, I got tagged by the player beforehand, they got the head credit. But I have some really weird screenshots of various players with swords over me. And it's funny. I died to a lot of stupid things, and so after a couple of rounds, I decided, okay, I was going to just start smacking people with whatever I could possibly pick up. So there are no deaths that I can remember that resulted from anything I actually did. I don't think I killed anybody. Give me a second here to find out. Okay. Is that it? That should be it. Yep. Okay. Weird, my Spotify is going all kinds of stuff. So, for example, if I hit the statistics and take a look at the mobs, and I go down to the players at the bottom, I have never managed to successfully kill a player. In all that chaos, I never managed to successfully kill anybody. But I got killed 24 times. So I can guarantee smacking somebody with a fish, or a hay bale, or a seed, or what else is a feather, a stick. I think there was some sugar cane in there and a piece of bamboo. Yeah, not so effective. But that's okay. Alright. I'm assuming it's the hole downstairs. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so we're headed home. Headed home. Whoever that one is, certainly does not want accidental Nether visitors, nor do they want their overworld to escape to the Nether. Weird. Did I? Uh-oh. I didn't accidentally. Nope. I was worried that I accidentally got rid of Wolfen's marker, but no, it's not. And I'm also listening close to Phoenix, which makes me wonder whose that is. Let's see. Holy cannoli! Yeah. Okay, no wonder things are choppy. There are enough people logged on here to definitely give people a run for their money. That would explain a lot of the behavior of the portals being pokey. Well, on the bright side, we don't have to load a whole lot of new chunks or something from our end, so we should, cross our fingers, be in good shape for today. If I don't successfully, you know, walk off the ledge or something. Okay. Then again, she says as she walks towards the nothingness that should be her door. To make sure I didn't mess with this one on the weekend. Clickety clickety. It's funny, sometimes I think that this game has far too many clicks and pops and snaps and so on. Weirdly, it makes me feel old. Yep, just a little bit of lag. That's okay. Alright. So what we need, basically we're going to build this all along these walls, which is not very much like the reality. The reality would actually have had these walls, all the stone ones, actually being wood. I just couldn't be bothered to chop that much. That's really what it came down to. Hopefully we'll have some luck out of the iron farm in the meantime, but with this sort of lag, I'm not expecting much out of the social golems. Or the bees, to be honest with you. How did... Seriously, dummy, how did you get stuck in there? Whatever. The creature that can fly up gets himself stuck in a pen. I don't get it. Okay, so we need... That is birch, oak, and oak fences and whatever. And some spots I'll need slabs. Okay. Do I have the slabs? Some of those. And a gazillion buttons, maybe. I think. Easiest way to start with. Between floors. Okay, and there's the birch here. Birch planks. Well, okay. 22 logs. This is not going to get us very far. Though it looks like we will need to go on a chopping spree. I guess that's where we'll start. Because we need to build towers as well. But, actually, can I do the towers without? Just taking a quick look here at my reference. Where did the reference page go? Hello? Why am I not seeing it? References. Okay. Come on. Okay, so I'm looking at building... We already have the smaller circle done. And we're looking at building the towers for the larger circle. And now, there's a tower just to the northeast on that picture. Just above the edge of the circle. Which, if I'm connected to here, would be off in this side direction. However, the map that we've got working on, there's nothing there. No idiot is going to approach from that end. So I think we're going to do is move that, so have one set of towers on the south, and then one of the little ones off to the west. I think we'll do that instead. Just because the terrain we've got is rather pointless. I mean, this big gray thing is a really deep hole, so nobody's coming from that side. There's no point. So, anyways, which means then the little towers look like they are just extensions of the wall that we've got and then make them a little wider. So we can do that pretty effectively. So we're going to need the wood anyway. Just double checking on. Yeah, Spotify is as choppy as I think it is. I'm just going to quit the program and restart that and see what we get. Sorry about that, guys. I'm in the mood for tunes, and not having it choppy is pretty critical for me. Let's go. What do we got? Let's try this one. Yep. Once again, that feels better, but if it goes choppy again, I need to kick it. It could just be the source it's coming from, for all I know. Alright, so we need birch trees specifically, which is weird, but yes. I built in birch. So I'm going to kill the reference for now. We can come back to it later. Excuse me, itchy nose. That's odd. Yeah, it's just the Spotify got really screwed up. So I don't know. I would not be surprised. We have I would not be surprised the internet's being affected. We have what Max Money last night called a snowpocalypse. Basically, like for example, between the houses it's over 5 feet deep. In front of our house, we lost the lower branches of our trees. Or for people who are more familiar with, oops, I guess I did something floaty there. That's not good. Or for people who are more familiar with the heights of cable coax boxes between neighboring houses. We have lost the one between our neighbors and then some. So yeah. I do not like floaty trees, Sam. I am. Is that it? Okay, please do it. I use that, but I don't like floaty trees because they have a tendency to harbor mobs. That one's despawning. Guess what I didn't bring? Ah. Okay. Eat food. I will be coming back. Yeah. Most of the time when I'm in the base, I don't need a bed, so I don't always carry a bed. But then when I go doing something simple like chopping, I need a bed. So, yeah. I really, really, really don't like how vanilla doesn't have, or sorry, let me put it this way. I really don't like how vanilla Minecraft insists that if you take a bed somewhere, you have to reset your spawn compared to where you were before. Good morning, CJBot, or Lava King, or wherever you want to be today. We are once again returning to the castle walls, but unfortunately, we need to do some choppy chop before we get there. I guess while I'm up on my way back, I'll have to grab some carrots because we don't have any more villagers. So it's a busy place on the server today. As you can see, we've got 10 just hanging out, and that's cool, but it's whatever they're up to. Rough. It's rough. Normally the server doesn't have that many people on. I mean, now let me say this though, on the weekend we were not necessarily this choppy when we were dealing with each other, but it was kind of chaotic because it was, what did we have? I think Zerk was telling me we had 27 people on Saturday for the dragon fights, and dragon was flying fairly smoothly, but when we went out to start bridging out and finding things in the end, it was like worse than what you're seeing here for stuff rezzing in. Like, you just could not see much of anything. Some people were even having trouble seeing the dragon. I don't know which distance they put down, whether it be the render or the sim or both. Oh, there it is. But I had pushed up on mine and the render distance just in case, and was able to see the dragon almost all the time. But definitely anything that required a whole lot of calculation simulation stuff was not showing up. So yeah, and it was interesting because when I was pushing out for the like to be seeing in the end and looking for the wings and stuff, I was seeing things pop up on the mini map in the corner before they popped up for me on the main screen. So literally, I was a couple of times I was back bridging straight into what looked like nothingness to me, but was over top of a piece of an island or something in the game. So yeah, it was rough. That's okay. We're here, and I scored wings, and my buddy Wolfen got an experience that she probably won't forget in the short term. But we had fun, a lot of fun, and I'm ended out for now. But it's just because I don't really need a whole lot out there. So the experience of dealing with shulker towers and whatever was never really one of my favorite parts. So I'm just taking a break from things before I muck around, and I might not poke again until people decide to reset the end. So there'll be things like our shulker farm will be saved and stuff, but some of the other things such as end cities will be probably trimmed so that they will force regenerate. In which case, the Elytra market goes gangbusters once again. Right now it's pretty busy. A lot of people got one free set, and then we're all talking about, who's got the gunpowder farm and what are they charging, and it's all that kind of jazz. I've got one set of rockets that are living in the ender chest along with the wings just because I didn't feel I needed them. We will be getting into flying earlier this season than we did last. I'm not going to be super stubborn, but at least to start with, for now, I'm part of the most of the time no fly gang, just because I don't like flying when things are rezzing badly, because a couple of times last season, once I learned to get off the ground with a rocket, I did an awful lot of showing up in a mountain. Like, rather literally, I'd be in a cave in a mountain because of the way the generation works. Or I would smack into the side of a mountain and not even know it was there when I hit it. Which, of course, then you've got no way of mitigating the damage that's coming at you from that. And it feels at that point a lot like Bug Rock, because Bug Rock's one known for its mystery damage, or delayed damage for various things. I'm specifically looking for birch out here, which sounds weird, but I am, because we're using those for the walls. Ooh. Don't want to fall in holes, though. So I have to skip a tree or two to avoid caves and such. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. We'll start with the top up here. Just peel it off, pull it back, and then see where we get to for trees. Wow. I didn't realize I was that far into chopping out the birches. It seemed like there was a lot when I started, but I must have been doing a good number on them. We can always do a tree farm. It's just that aside from the bone meal in the iron farm, there isn't a whole lot of bone meal at my base right now. There may be in the future, because we're going to probably end up building ourselves a generic mob farm, but as I said, we haven't gotten that far yet. I'm taking this season kind of slow just to enjoy myself. I put a lot of pressure to do things like Vault Hunters and Vanilla, and finding that I guess it's weird, but the more I feel like I want to do, the less it feels like there's time for it. So, yeah. Part of it, I think, actually this year is anomalous, just because the other thing I do a lot of is I'm a volunteer leader with Scouts in Canada, and that just means that the winter season can be hectic. It isn't always, but it can be. A lot of it depends on the weather we've got, so there's a bunch of stuff in our program, adventures like skiing adventures and camping in the snow and that sort of stuff, that are specifically winter targeted, as in snow targeted. And some areas of the country complain that they don't get enough snow to make it happen. So right this year, we were taking pages out of their book, because until this week we actually haven't had a whole ton of snow. It's been like above freezing temperatures which is quite unusual for us, particularly in the month of February. Usually February is our deep freeze month. But because it's been good weather, there's been a lot more generic let's get out, go have a campfire in the local park kind of stuff. And then of course now that we've got the snow dump, there's more pressure to do things like the cross-country skiing and stuff. I mean, we were going to try for it anyways because one of the areas does snowmaking and set track. We were going to drive out of town to do that, and it just means that things are busier with that. So between that and yeah, there's just been a lot going on for me. I know it sounds weird to say considering that I'm technically a stay-at-home mom, and I say technically because we were talking to the bank last week just for credit cards and like I want to sign up for another one and stuff. But anyways, the point is, that's part of the story, is they asked, so what's your occupation? And I said, homemaker. Then I kind of laughed about it because I don't really do it. Fantastic Sherlock Fox does it, even though he's got a job. So yeah, I'm spoiled. Very, very, very spoiled. Are you going to despawn? Like ever? So anyway, where that part of the story goes is that feeling busy is all a matter of perspective. There are people that are doing far more. But between that and I've mentioned it before, not going to get dark, just once and done, is that sometimes I struggle a little bit with headspace issues. And so when that happens, doing something active is really not on my priority list. And sometimes I can't even get my brain out of the guilt mode about coming down to play. So I don't. And the result is that, of course, the laundry list of things to do online just gets longer and longer. Like everything else, right? So anyways, we're here and we're cutting trees and we're going to get a move on with this castle because I know, as much as you know, that we would like to do other things as well. So we need to get the castle going so we can do that. I mean, technically it's self-defended, but particularly once I get rid of the golems that are just pacing the area, there's less defense from things like skeletons pot-shotting at me over the walls. So I need to actually get the higher level wall portion in there, so we're not going to get skeletons doing that. That's really what it comes down to. Oh good, the music is surviving so far. That's the other reason I wanted tunes, because sometimes they do help with the mood while we're playing. Because if it's happy, bouncy, cheery tunes, subconsciously it's a lot harder to get into dark topics. So for your sake and mine, it's a good thing. So what do I want to do? So we've got some things on the docket, of course. We've got the castle itself, and then there will be slowly a town around it. Now, I was going to build the town first, but I think it might be smart to move on to the abbey because, although that may look like it's in a different area, just across the river, and we'll take ourselves a shulker monster with it. But I'm going to move on to that because our main character focus is actually a monk. So, like, that's sort of the major inspiration for the base this season. So I want to get on to his place. Not to mention that, in spite of the shulker monsters that are going to be existing for various different projects this season, I'm still intending to do the Abbey Church portion of the monastery as a storage hall, like I was trying to with the pews in my church last season. That really worked out well once I got signage and stuff up. So I'm going to repeat that this season, which means I need to get on it, man. You know. I'm still chuckling over the fact that last week, I guess it was the first time in months. I can't say it was the first time ever. Maybe it was, but I had said something. Oh, during the headhunt, I would smack somebody and be like, "Oh, sorry, so and so," because it wasn't who I'd intended to hit. And I kept saying sorry as I was running around with whatever it was. And then the day after, somebody was chuckling about it. I think it might have been CJ Williams, but anyways, he was chuckling about it and saying it was quite funny hearing me repeatedly say sorry in my also Canadian accent. And when you're around people who speak like you all the time, it's one of those things where you don't always necessarily remember that you have an accent. And so I just thought it was really funny. So I've been listening to it's just something I've been doing of late, but I've been listening to other streamers and noting the various different, I guess, regional accents. And is quite an interesting contrast. I mean, for example, you've got my Canadian accent, but periodically I get rated by Max Money, and his is very different than mine, but I don't know how to explain it because part of it is I can't even give you directional as in northwest, southeast, etc. for his accent because one, people in the US tend to move all over the place, like we do up here, and two is that a Canadian's grasp of American geography is usually pretty weak. But then again, that usually goes both ways, so it's not like it's a big deal. But it's funny because that just makes it then that I'm not going to be able to say how, like where people are from. But it's just interesting for me to note that people sound so different. But some parts of the US, to me, don't sound any different than anybody else. And sometimes it's not just words I'll pick up from people, but I'll accidentally start pronouncing things their way and not even realize I've done it, partly because it's not that different than what I already say. And then there's times where people incredibly mock the Canadians for our semi-British pronunciation of things, our semi-British spelling as well. I say semi because we do things like keep the word in, or keep the letter U in the word neighbor, or color. That's color is one I use a lot actually, and we do keep that difference, but we don't keep the differences. Like we spell tire the American way, Tire, as in a tire for your car, but the people across the pond in the UK would spell it Tyre, and I think the Australians do as well. I'm not fully sure. I'd have to check in with some of our Australian friends on that one. Maybe James or Joe can clue me in on that. But it's just funny to note that things are done that way, and sometimes just because a letter's in there doesn't necessarily mean we spell it that way. But it's also interesting because some people say in Canada we'll use Z. We were talking about the letter Z, which is a UK thing, but sometimes we'll hear Z. It depends on who you're talking to and when you're talking to them and what teacher they had and all kinds of different factors like that. Because some teachers use the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star version of the alphabet song to be able to teach kids their alphabet letters, and that one rhymes best with Z at the end. But apparently there's an alphabet song in the UK that kids can learn, and I don't know what it is. I'll have to look it up. But they, clearly they use their Z in it. So it's just different things. And so we were talking in, I think it was in Lena Hunn's stream on the weekend, and they were teasing about different stereotypes about Canadians. One of which was about igloos. And I had a chuckle because one of the people in chat had come up with, the idea that we stay in igloos most of the winters to help save on heating bills in our houses, but by mid to end of February we need to move back to our houses by law because of the problems that resulted from the Great Igloo collapse back in '86. Which is total and utter trash. Fiction, hogwash, whatever you want to call it. But it was a hoot at the time. And yes, I don't know if that's a Canadianism or not, but that's something my grandmother used to say. Things were a hoot. And my mother talks about fiction being, and movies sometimes being a good bit of fluff. Something you enjoyed that really was quite nice. Okay, so as soon as... I was going to say as soon as, but then start to set a limit, but I will stop chopping when I stop chopping, I guess. Let's see. So where do these connect? Okay, they don't connect there, which means if I take a couple more of these self-standing ones out like this one, we should be able to get things to despawn over time if I ever come back here. But at least it won't be harboring mobs. Okay, where are we? Phase away, that's okay. This lonely tree. Take that one out and then we'll head back. Sure. while it may seem a little crazy to come and chop trees rather than just having a local tree farm, it sounds weird, but this is actually also part of the historical reference lore. Because in the north of Scotland, there used to be a really large forest. I can't remember what they called it. I mean, some people just refer to it as the Great Forest. But there actually was quite a nice large forest up there, which over time was deforested for, housing and veritable fuels and all kinds of stuff. And building impromptu castles and so forth. And that's actually, I don't know if the south of England had some as well. My history geography is pretty crummy. But definitely a lot of the coverage out there was lost over many, many, many years. And I mean, they even used to have very, very tall trees that were used in the shipbuilding business, because you had to have crazy tall ones to be able to build the masts, and ones that were slightly less tall, which are still taller than you see most places today. But those trees were used for a lot of the planking on the length of the ship, because of course the fewer joins you have to make, the more watertight the ship can be. So a lot of those forests were decimated and don't exist anymore, which is kind of interesting, because somebody had done the math recently, and based on just the archaeology zones discovered in the last century, so from the same, well, they included up to 1900, so just over 120 years, but the archaeology zones discovered there, they did the math on it and said, based on the amount of forest coverage, natural forest coverage, in England today, they would not have been able to provide enough trees for the wood-based structures that the archaeologists know about. So that's one guarantee that we used to have more over there, but that we don't now, clearly. And people are trying to grow portions of it back by setting aside farmland and such, but I mean, it's one of those things that there's a debate going on as to whether or not it should be replanted intentionally along lines that history scientists say existed, or whether it should just be let follow and grow naturally, which means it has to go through phases of grassland and scrubland and so on first. Sorry for the little squeak there. Good, I've got space. We need carrots for breeding purposes, so that's what I'm up here for. Carrot field. Didn't bring a hoe or a fortune, anything, so we'll just plow it and get what we get. We get what we get, and we don't get upset, right? Isn't that how it goes? All the parenting. Speaking of parenting, not critical, but one of the things I noticed was not working so well was my trivia game for Harry Potter. That's fine. It was asking chat a question, see if they knew the correct answer, and yes, you're right, no, you're wrong, whatever. It's still there, but to go with that, I've actually also decided to start out an optional redeem. I guess all redeems are optional, but a redeem for the game Not Parent Approved. So the game you guys are probably familiar with is Cards Against Humanity, and this Not Parent Approved one is virtually the same thing, writ painfully family friendly for youth. And so how the redeem would work is, when it's redeemed, then I would pull a question card, or like the seed card with a blank in it, and then one of the answer cards, and then read them together. I know that there's another streamer who's doing it with Cards Against Humanity, the original edition and the nerd edition, and they're very not family friendly a lot of the time. Oh, please go away! I'm trying to plant it. So that was not it. We do have a family friendly, if we bought the family edition version of the game. It's not quite family friendly enough for where my comfort zone was on stream, at least to start with. Maybe evening streams might change, but most likely it's not going to. So I've got the version that's not parent approved, which is really all it refers to. And yeah, that's what we're going with. So I really... Oh, actually, I don't need to trade with the farmers, so we're fine. We'll do that stuff. But that's an optional piece, if anybody decides that's something they want. Just for a 5-second chuckle or whatever. I've got a Would You Rather game available, but haven't built the redeem for that one yet, so that's a possibility as well. Mostly for conversation points. The Would You Rather has not been input in the system. That's part of why it's taking so long, is I'm looking at a way of doing that quickly. But I haven't found a good online one that's built for my bot yet, or a database I can connect into it. So we'll just have to go with the flow. Okay. So, because I'm going to build the gates back here and back here, I'm going to start with the walls on either side. And just for the time being, we're going to build what we can and see where we can get to. Okay, so this, let's leave the end open. It won't be, oops. It won't, this end won't be open when we're done, but I might as well leave it open for now. And I did this all backwards, didn't I? Okay, well, let's put some fences down. I need fences and gates. Wood, wood, wood. Planks, planks, stick. Any other sticks hiding? When we finally get to the Abbey storage, so that we have more stuff and more space, then we're going to probably hire Wolf to come in and sort things for me. She's offered to do that. I like sorting, but sometimes for speed reasons, it's helpful if I do one thing and farm out the other part. Okay, that one in. These. You can be my sticks. How's that? Oops. Better get the villager stuff chucked out to the villagers, otherwise here all day. Oops, not that. That really went well, didn't it? Okay, first thing in the morning, I suppose. And I've got the what you call it? I think I've got the Lego cam back. It seems to be working. So that there was a check this morning and it does seem to be working. But that's always an option, and so is marbles and stuff like that. I'm enjoying Minecraft, no arguments there, but I don't have any server resets on this server to deal with during my stream time. So we don't have any pressure to do those side elements if people don't want to redeem them. We'll just keep on trekking and maybe get 5 more minutes worth of work done on stream. While I'm working hard to try and keep my starting times more consistent than they have been prior to, or well, up until recently, I guess. This one, yes. Hopefully that'll be enough to give me 1 kid. Maybe. There. Well, I'm trying to keep those more consistent. I'm not as fussy about the ends, so when I can, some days will be long and some days will be shorter. That sounds silly, but it's true. Okay, what do I want? I don't want that. I should start with fences. No? That's spruce fence, please. Go with half of that. 30 that way, 42, and then if I go this way, come on, let's go, 40 gates. Yep, that should get close enough to start. Gives a little bit of distance to work with. difficult part is probably the outside section, which is what we're going to do first, and then we'll deal with the inside later. Even though I have a 3 pattern working on most of the wall, I'm going to go with a 2 on the fencing and such. It's going to look a little weird, but that's the design. Oh, come on. Thank you. Wow, that's an interesting delay in the sound. Put the fence on, then 1000. Oh, there we go. That would be picked up. Click, bump, click, bump, click, bump. Come on. Just saw the announcement from the school where they're all... Yeah. So, I will actually pull that one up for just a second. So we got the weird announcement from the school. I love it. So some areas, if you're smart, you get a snowfall and they cancel school. No, not here. It would be nice. So they have, good morning, parents and guardians. Our Board of Education schools remain open today. However, the significant snowfall has impacted transportation services. All yellow school bus routes are cancelled. Public transit riders may experience delays or detours. If your child will not be attending class, please ensure you contact your school attendance line to report the absence. Which is a little disappointing because in previous years they have shown that if you report an absence for the busing and stuff, even though it's not your fault kind of thing, that the kid gets it put down as an unexcused absence. Like, pardon me? Not fair. Totally not fair. So, and here's the other thing. More and more kids from like junior high and up, so, we're talking 12, 13, not a big deal, really, but that age, are not offered... Ooh, good evening, Creef. Are not offered, what we may have called cheese wagon or yellow school bus transportation. Now, quote unquote, when I was a kid, back in my day, tis. Anyway, back then they used to offer you, if there was a bus already going to your school, then you could take the school bus, right? Like if that was the option, you didn't have to worry about taking public transit, no matter what grade you were. So if you were in high school and it was a junior and senior high combination, then you could still take the school bus if that was appropriate for where you were going. I mean, they wouldn't put on an extra stop for you, but for example, I had a younger brother who was going to my school. So because he was going to the school, then the theory was, that I could take the bus because there's no extra stop required, any of that stuff. But by the time I actually got into high school, they changed that rule, and I had to take public transit, which, unfortunately, they have a subsidy for the public transit because you're a student, sort of thing. However, your parents still had to buy the bus passes for the month. However, their argument was because it goes anywhere in the city, just being public transit, that they were not going to subsidize it down to the cost of the yellow school buses. You can imagine parents were not too impressed with that. How was your day, Creef, future man? Did that one actually... Interesting. Creefs is supposed to have a custom shoutout, but I don't know why it's not playing. Okay, can I get these gates to go the correct direction? Can I? Come on. Maybe. Let's see if I can do it this way. Oh, yep, there it is. It's Future Man! I don't know why, but when I put that in and when I hear it in my head, it always sounds like one of those 1940s radio newsreel type voices. Honestly, Creek, at the moment, I would probably appreciate your run-of-the-mill, boring, everyday type of day. We've had a snowpocalypse up here, so yeah. What I mean by that, we talked about earlier on the stream how deep the snow was loosely, but Fantastic Sherlock Fox was telling me it took him approximately an hour to dig us out, and he kindly dug out the sidewalk of one of the next door neighbors because theirs was already filling in from the snow that's continuing to come down. But he couldn't do the other neighbor on the other side just because he was just too tired by that point, and that he's gonna have to go back out again. Oh, I actually, funny enough, I haven't seen the picture yet, although I'm not surprised. Yeah, it's pretty deep around here. I was looking out the front windows. I was trying to, because I was headed to bed last night, and it was pretty deep. I was not envying anybody. And Fantastic Sherlock Fox has a couple of appointments to deal with today, but thankfully not a ton. So hopefully all will go well with those, and you don't have to worry too much about getting point A to point B a lot. Basically, they're saying to people, if you have any work from home privileges at all, call your boss, tell him you're not coming into the office, and work from home today. Please get off the roads. The all major arteries were blocked up with multi-car pileups. So yeah, it's a little snowy, which means I suspect the owls will probably, Stormy and Mr. Owl will probably have, oops, darn it. They will probably have quite a lot of snow their way as well. Which is not good considering that I know Stormy will have to go out in that. Just her job will probably not allow her to work from home. Well, I don't know what it is, but the thing I don't like about living in Calgary, we've talked about it before, is we've got Chinooks, and I usually say that makes it tough for people to acclimatize their bodies. I mean, that's one problem. But the other piece is that people, because we get warm Chinook winds that melt away the snow, and that's part of why we've had a very nice winter this time, as opposed to the usual cold and whatnot. It also means people forget how to drive.
Hello.
Like, seriously, they just have no clue. Hey, Mel, how are you doing? Yeah, exactly. So even Mel is getting a bunch of snow. Okay, thought I had one extra gate. I think I may have taken long enough to put the gate for the one extra fence. There it is. There's my fence. Yeah, we've got quite a winter storm coming in. I mean, now, one of the things I'm thankful for, though, is even though we've got this nasty storm, that we're sort of, as a culture, we're the western part of it, we're kind of used to it, and it could be worse, because sometimes when we get major snow dumps, they actually could be the good news pieces saving us from having to deal with the Sky River. Some portions of the west coast had basically a Sky River dump on them a couple years ago, and it might even have been a year ago, but there was tons of flooding all over the place. And sometimes when there's a huge snowfall, I wonder if the Sky River just managed to get a little further before it actually dumped and became snow instead of other things. I guess, yeah, they do live relatively close to you. I forgot about that. But they were talking about it last night, wondering if the snow was start coming in. It's like, well, I'm gonna get it before you do. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay, I don't have... Did we run short of sticks? No, it was planks. Gonna need lots more trees regardless. But let's get more of this fencing out of the road. My brain is just on slow mode today, and I apologize for that. Okay. Need more fence, but only half of that. 34 over 2 is 15, 6, 17. Okay. That doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. $34. Okay. I just can't get these things to match up today, can I? What else? Gates. Let's start with that. 2 gates. Where is the spruce? Spruce are my sticks today. And get rid of all these carrots because I don't want villagers. Yeah, long story. It's not a long story at all. I'm just not thinking straight. Okay. Sticks. Fences. We got 32 fences. Can we do sticks again? Or gates? 32 gates. So half of that. 25, roughly. 24. And then gotta get more gates. How do I always end up short on gates? Weird. Yeah, it is funny how small the world is. Definitely. Definitely. Where am I? Spruce. I would love to actually find out that I've made more than I need, but my brain says probably not. Okay, so then we need more gates. 52, 64. Still short a few, not a ton. Because I ran out of planks again. Do I have any more oak planks? Last batch. Okay. So now we need. Can I make gates? Come on. There we go. That's it. Because I ran out of sticks. Boy. $57, $64, $25, and then we're short on fences. Okay. One more time. Hey, I didn't drop things. Wow. Okay. Get rid of the trees, though. Don't need that. Yeah. Okay. Where do we stop? We stopped over there. Let's just run on the fence. Run on the walls. Hello. Excuse me. Getting better at this running on a single wall thing until I run off the end. Ah. Up and down and up and down. Okay. 8. Getting the walls to go click. Come on. This one. Come on. Lordy. That's gonna make me nauseous. Let's try something else. And I reach. I can reach. Okay. Oops. Come on. That's better. I don't fall off the edge. we're making progress. It's a lot of the same you guys have seen, but hoping that we can get walls going pretty quick. And the music, while the music is not exactly as hype as I would like, it's it hasn't stopped, which is good news. I don't know why that is, and I'm not going to argue. Okay, this corner's going to be a pain. Not fall off this time. Fence. Should be. Oops, that's not it. Big gate. Fence here. There. There. All right. Yep, more or less. Okay. Fence. 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 Come on, fence. Really? Good lord. Didn't think today. So yeah. Which also, I mean, with all this other weather, I will not be surprised in the slightest if my kids come home at some point and go, "It's warm enough that if we bundle up, we can go sledding, right?" Which is great, but I haven't got out to get them helmets yet. And that sounds cheesy because, I mean, a lot of us, we grew up with not wearing helmets for sledding for eons. But unfortunately, there's a bigger awareness these days of having a helmet when you do sports. And I mean, I wouldn't worry about it normally, but we used to go with bicycle helmets, and unfortunately, I agree with the fact that my kids are going to need a special one, just because, not special, but like a multi-purpose one, just because they're, awesome. It's required for when they go sledding with scouts. So I figure it never hurts to just have them do it like that all the time. And then they're sort of set. Right? But also, I mean, that way they're used to it. They have, favorite hat that goes with it, etc. But the other thing is that last year, or was the year before, I can't recall. I think it was last year that my son was wearing his bicycle helmet, which used to be enough. But because of the shape, unfortunately, he took a little spill backwards, not a big deal, and bonked his head. No big deal there either. But what had happened with the bicycle helmet, instead of a more rounded multi-sport helmet, he unfortunately caught the back of the helmet on the ground and wrenched his head forward. So like a bit of a whiplash style injury. He recovered from it fairly quickly, but it was just a pain, no bad puns intended, to deal with for a while, and it's one that could have been easily avoided. Not to mention that in theory, once you've crashed a bicycle helmet, like head first really, that you should replace it. But the other thing is they're not great in winter weather, simply because the materials get brittle or they get stiff, and they don't actually absorb the impact as well as they would in a summer situation. So, not to say that he can't go sledding, but I know I'd be more picky about which hills he goes on, because there's some that right now would have some pretty good quality powder, and he'd sink in because he's just growing up just that little bit heavier. Unfortunately, like they also, the ones that he wouldn't sink into are also the ones that are really steep, and he doesn't like the speed. So I mean, if he was trying to go at the school, that'd be fine, because our elementary school's hill is really incredibly lame. If there's another elementary school really nearby, run by the Catholic system, that has a very nice hill for being able to sled on. I shouldn't say for sledding. The reason I say that is because it's not for sledding. They actually installed the permanent metal bicycle racks at the bottom of that. I don't know if somebody had an anti-sledding mentality, or if they just wanted to be a brat, or if there was some other reason that the bicycle racks were put there, but it's definitely a kibosh on that hill. Which is too bad, because when the school was under construction, they hadn't installed all the playground equipment, or at least not the bicycle racks yet. It was a great place to take the kids because it was really, really close by. Okay. So we've got the outside of this part done, which will give us the support to be able to put up the birch. So let's get on it. Now I know I've got a lot of fencing still in here. That'll be on the inside. So we can put up the inside section, but I think let's do the outside more interesting walls first. And I'm going to need the dirt in some spots. There will be some places we're going to need an overhang just to make it work, but I'll deal with that as we come to it. Okay, so this one. How tall did I make it? 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That's really all there is to it. We're going to chop out windows after the fact, I think. It's probably a little easier to do it that way rather than figuring out where they are now. Come on. I love the fact you can get the log look out of this, but just being able to put it on the sides is a bit of a pain. So it wouldn't be any faster if we were doing it the whole length of a section rather than 1, 2, and 3, because still got to come by this zone anyways, right? Now, I know there's plenty that place blocks faster than I do. Welcome to do so. 2. But I'm looking forward to getting the kids out sledding. We got them some new sleds last year because, one, my son's growing taller, so he needs a longer sled. So we're at the point where if he wants to keep sledding, he may need, or he had needed to move up to ones that are often usable by 2 kids, or change to a different style, like a saucer shape or something. The problem with those, though, the saucer shaped ones, or sometimes even the donut, like inner tube style, is that because you've got concentrated weight with somebody sitting on their knees or cross-legged or whatever on that part of the sled, you tend to find that in more conditions of snow, they're actually just going to sink in and not actually get as good a slide. Whereas the one he's got right now, he can sit on his knees, and he often does. But if he sits on his bottom with his legs spread out, it helps spread out some of the weight required. And so he can actually get a much better slide. But also the bottom of the one that we got him recently is more durable than what we had before. So it's a hard plastic style. And that tends to work well when our hills get all icy. I have a bad feeling that this is not going to last us very far. But anyways, where I was going with that was to say that that he and his sister got new sleds last year, matching sleds. Well, not quite matching, but coordinating sleds. If they'd been matching, they wouldn't fight over whose is whose. But my kids are going through a phase right now where they're I shouldn't say trying to figure themselves out. That's really not what's going on. What they're actually doing is they're going through a phase where one likes one thing and then complains that the other one won't let them have that be sort of their special thing. In this case, it's color. So they fight over the sleds a little bit simply because my son used to be the only one that loved greens. And now my daughter's decided, yep, green is her thing, which means that both of them want the green sled, and they'll eventually sort it out. But often it takes some time to, both of them want the green one, or both of them want the, whatever, like the one that's got the something or other on it. I think the designs are just like one's green based and one's orange based or something like that. But it always takes a moment to figure out whose sled was this, and the reason it even matters is because they have different techniques when they slide, and so one's going to be more scraped up on the bottom than the other, and they don't know who to blame for that extra damage if they don't have the colors sorted out. I do not want to be a lightning rod again. See? Told you. I've already got the advancement. Maybe not in this world, but I've already got the advancement for it. The sound of the thunder is cool in the game, and the sound of the rain isn't bad. But being the cause of, yeah, not much fun. When I was playing Vault Hunters, actually, I got the electric related achievement, basically where you manage to protect a villager from a lightning strike. Well, 9 times out of 10 when that happens, it's actually because the player took it instead. But I got that achievement in Vault Hunters, unfortunately, while I was standing too close to a skeleton horse. So I had the lovely little skeletons on their horses show up and go after me. On the bright side, though, they had a bit of a war amongst themselves as well. I don't know how that happened, because normally that won't happen with the Apocalypse Riders, but anyways. So, while one of them successfully got me, between the remaining 3, they took out 2 of the other riders, so that was fine, but I had one skeleton horse kicking around for so long, and I didn't know whether or not it was one of the ones that could split and become another set of 4, or whether it was actually just a sort of regular one that could despawn. No, sorry, not despawn, which could just, be named and tagged and whatever and kept. So I ended up just deciding to get rid of it because I didn't want to have that hassle. Okay. Now, how did I do it here? Windows were always above the gates. That's not gonna work. Here. Up there. I just did that mistake. Come on. Thank you. This one. This one. There. Now I can walk through better. In this case, then, rather than having them always above the X or Y, I think I'm just going to go with the wall pattern below. Oh, that's not going to work. I was thinking my pattern was on a wider design. Every second will work. Sure. We'll start with one here. Let's hope I can pick up these. I'd love to have a magnet, but it's not going to happen. Go. Okay, and over here. Some I get, some I don't. It's like every second one. And the corners can't do anything with. Well, maybe. This one, I could probably get one here. And the reason I say I can't get anything with some of these is because like you see on that far side, I'd like to try and use trapdoors for the outside. And unfortunately, that's not going to look right on some of these corners. Some will, but some of them won't. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. Do... Retrieve this one. What else can I grab? See if I can get any of the others that popped outwards. Unlikely, but we'll see. Nope, not a one. All right. Despawn City for you. That's okay. Let's chop more trees. No, just kidding. What do I have? Egg. Okay, no good. Where did I fall? Oh, there's one. Do I have any other ones that are birch? Eggs. Nope. Oh, so we look like we're getting somewhere. All right. That'd be the outside. Why don't we, since we've got the fence, some of the fences and stuff, I'm gonna start on the other side and work my way back. And just do fences and so forth on the inside here. And then that would save us a little bit of time later, potentially. Fence gate. There we go. Wow. I can even reach it and do it wrong. Okay, I need to do this. One. At least on this side, there's nothing to fall off, right? Woohoo! Okay. 8. Fence. And this way, we know when we're going out shopping that we need both birch and oak to be able to move on. We're going to need a lot of oak for the roofing. Oops, no, wrong way. Really? One gate and a couple more fences. One at the other side. And we're over halfway down on the interior oak, which is nice. All right. Oak log. And I probably make some more fences and whatnot. Get that part done. Hello. Cake courtesy of Chicken Tendy. I remember how many cakes I've been through now. Probably 15, I think. Not all hers, but yeah. We've had a few gates. We've had a few cakes around here. I was using them to level up some of my villagers initially, so I had a bunch of them. And then I've had about 3, I think, from Chicken Tendy, which is cool. There's a lot of cake. Come on. Let's go. I've got gates. Okay, so I've got about 25 gates. Let's go with fences and make all of those. Probably easier. Oh, haha. Should have made gates. Oh well. Can I make a gate out of this? Sure. One gate. Alright. Now I have more fence that I know what to do with, which is too bad. But that's okay. Sometimes things happen. I have to fix this interior corner. How did I do the other one? Go over interior? Okay, interior. Oops. One. Come on. And I have to fix that back corner as well. Oops. Fence. 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 Gate. Fence. Should be gate. Oops. Wrong way. And this is all wrong. Grr. only reason I'm doing this is so that we can run through the holes on the top of the walls. Through the holes, sorry. On the top of the walls. And that makes everything screwball. I think it adds one more surface. Do my counts. Let's go with that chunk because it looks right. So go this fence gate. Fence. Yeah, and that changes this whole strip. At least this strip's short. Fence. Down on the other side. Excuse me. Aha! Hey, short stuff. Oops, that's not gonna work. Eight. Fence. Eight. Fence. Oh, that's the fence. Eight. 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 Seem to think today. 8. This one. One more. That one. Four. Come on. I'm gonna make it look sort of circular. Not gonna be ideal, but 3. I just realized I've made 0 allowance for the towers I was going to put in here. Yeah. So I guess it's what we're up to next. Well, I missed. If anybody else wants to try Plinko, that's exclamation point Plinko. Plinko. Okay, I need those, I need these, and those. Just an outgrowth of the other part, though. Hello, sir. Let's start with this. That's roughly the middle of the wall. I'm just going to bring up the reference again. Now we're looking at, I'm not going to zoom it a lot, but there's a tower just to the northeast, and that looks like it just grows inwards from the existing section. I'm just going to make it a little bit larger. in the center wall over here instead. This. Like, how do I want to do this? Well, falling off the wall doesn't help. Four would make sense, actually, because four would fit the design I've got on the wall. And then it would also allow me to have a ladder up the inside quite easily. So I'm going to go with that. How far do I want it wider on the outside is the question. And do I want it wider on the outside? Yeah, sure. Why not? Oh, of course. We've got a thing up top. I have this one down, just so I can see what I'm doing. Fence to get rid of. Okay. Same on this side. Sure, whatever. Not quite. It's not quite the same, but it'll work. No, 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 no! Great. Oh! Oh, that's a pain. Dude! Must you? Why? Why, buddy? Why? Move. Go home, okay? Quit. Thank you. All right. Where were we then? That one was coming up by 1. Which lets this stuff come up by 1. There is... And then I'm just going to switch this one. I don't even need these, they'll be inside. Nobody's gonna see it. That one, this side, is the outer section. I'm just going to do the same thing, make it even. I know it doesn't fit the pattern, but hey, it's artistic, right? Isn't that how it goes? These can you go correctly? Thank you. And this one? Nope. Apparently not. Come on, Dylan. Why can't you get this right? Not that. That'll work. This bit is going to be double wide on the inside as well. Which means I can use this. Not that. Can't seem to think today. To this one and this one. There's my and then put this in on this side. And there will be a second, an actual door at some point. All right. Where did the dirt go? Nope, it's not dirt. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Put the window over the door frame. Oop, not that one. Great. Okay, so that's one tower marked out. I need 2 of them on this side. Let's see. Reference again? Which is weird that the castle would have looked like that because the city walls would actually extend further. Weird. Okay, I'm not gonna argue it. Sure, whatever. Because the other reference I'm looking at, not model, not sketch map. So you guys can see from the sketch map that I've got the castle up top, and then it's actually got city walls around it. But it's weird because they're drawing it as though you entered where the main road was, but the suggested archaeology is that you don't. So I'm kind of confused, but I'm not going to worry about the city walls for a while. Just the model. Still trying to figure out how to make that work. But also on my main map here, it wouldn't make much sense to make the main walls come up this side anyways. Entrance and exit, because it's not where people are going to be coming in and out. Need to figure out how to make those two work. In the meantime, we are out of birch and we need more birch. So, back to Chop City. That allows me a bit of time to think. I mean, it's tempting to do... it's tempting to put the main walls on this side because it makes sense for the city as well as... like, it makes sense for how you get in as well as the rest of it, but it doesn't all at the same time. Still not sure how you get into the proper town of Shrewsbury to do that. So yeah, stuff I need to figure out off camera. We are probably not going to run super long today. Let's see. I mean, as you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff to do offline, which is a lot more choppity chop business. And we've also got things to do, I guess, in stuff that needs to be done. I will be back this evening for more walls. That's part of why I want to do the prep in between. So just a couple more minutes of some pre-chopping stuff, and then we'll raid on out. And I will be back this evening working on the walls, but we're getting a lot closer, so we should be able to get some productive stuff figured out. And in the meantime, I'll figure out where I'm going to put those other two towers. Get that part rolling. It's all one blob. Okay, that's so far so good. 5 great. These ones. Is that enough? Oh, you're despawning for me. Excellent. I need to break that up. Oh! Don't fall, Dylan. Reaper. And a Skelly with armor. Yeah, I definitely don't want those guys to see me. Alright, so, I'm going to start looking for someone to raid out with pretty soon here. And we'll do some more chopping. We'll have, as I said, we'll have those towers ready to go. We can build them on up this evening and move on to something else for tomorrow. So Wednesdays used to be whatever Wednesday. I'm still going to keep them vanilla for a little bit longer, but then we will be returning to Vault Hunters periodically, and I'll probably split them up so that on the days where I do 2 streams, there'll be 1 Vault Hunters and one vanilla stream. But for the time being, we'll stay vanilla for at least this week, and hopefully we can get some more progress made. For those of you that watch others on the server, that are also playing this very server, they are quite a ways ahead of me. Just some of them are, well, organized and much more functional with what they're up to. But them's the breaks, you know? One of the other things I might do is if I go, like, when I go for lunch and stuff, I'll try an AFK at the iron farm and then convert those flowers into bone meal, and we could probably do some more actual tree farming rather than running around and looking for them, because it's a little faster. We've got plenty of saplings for both the oak and the birch, so get those farmed up locally. And I just want to make sure that I don't end up messing with the bees on site, because that would be problematic as well. Brave the, or so I've watched with Fantastic Sherlock Fox to brave the Snowmageddon. He's got an appointment this afternoon, and get my feet under me. We actually also have a second appointment this afternoon with the bank, so hopefully that will go well. It's just something basic. I've got to deposit a couple of checks and that need to be done in person, and our kids are getting debit cards for the first time, so we'll talk a little more about that sort of stuff possibly this afternoon or this evening, I guess. Afternoon for me. Evening for you. I don't even know where I am now. But yeah, banking stories to come. Probably more experience of Snowmageddon or Snowpocalypse or whatever you want to call it. February 2023 coming to a close with a vengeance. How's that? All right. 64 and 26. Not enough. Let's keep going. Somebody asked me recently if there was a block that was underrated in Minecraft. I would have said birch. Now I'm not so sure. I don't mind building with it. I actually like the way it looks because it's lighter. But had I built the whole castle out of wood, it probably wouldn't be birch. Just because birch is a pain. Some of them are crazy tall, which is not helpful. Hey there, chicken. Move. Three. Oh. Alrighty, let's run back to base, ditch this stuff, see about our little villager, see if he's actually got himself a job yet, and loggers, log right on out. We can now see it above the hill. That's a start. And the section in the back does pop up past the front, so that's good news as well. I don't have to go in all the way down this side. Yay! I don't know where short stuff went. Oh, there he is. All right, so we are getting ourselves a little bit more progress. The walls are starting to come together. We're seeing a bit more of what's been going on around, and yeah, that's a great place to stop for now. So what I'm going to do is just find someone interesting to raid out to, hopefully. Maybe. who is currently live. Let's take a look. I think we're gonna head ourselves out to Minecraft Mom 82. She looks like she's on the Creeper Farm build in the hardcore world, and it looks like it might be day 19 of that. But anyways, her hardcore world has been 3,900 days, so it's been interesting. And we're gonna head out to so Minecraft Mom 82. Give her all our best, and let's see if we can get the cheaty button. Otherwise, is it actually gonna work? Oh, yep, there it is.
Mischief managed.
All right, so you can see the raid message, one of the two raid messages popping up there, and hopefully you'll be able to use that one or the global emotes version, and if not, use any emotes you like. So thank you very much to Fantastic Sherlock Fox, to Grief, CJ Bot, Dub Dynamite, Hobo Zim, and Minneapolis Mel, and I think there were a couple others there I missed saying hello to, so if I did miss your name, I do apologize. Thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for spending your time with me. We will be back at 7 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will see you then. Have yourself a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, and bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.